What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check with this week's Raw review. As you've noticed, probably the last couple of Raw reviews I've done, they end up going up on Tuesday, and it's by the time I get done work and get done Raw, I'm exhausted, and I kind of want to collect my thoughts, but collecting my thoughts usually results in me passing out, and it ends up with you guys getting a review from me today. To those of you that have asked, to those of you who Tuesday morning are like, hey man, what's up, where's the Raw review? That's it. Other things, life gets in the way, etc., etc., etc. But here's Raw. We're rolling into Hell in a Cell, which is already looking like it could be fun. Nothing's really going into this Raw. Nothing was set in stone for Hell in the Cell. We have one match, or sorry, we have technically two matches announced by the end of this Raw. We start off with Seth Rollins comes out, starts yelling about the paintball, paint spray prank that Ambrose pulled on him last week. Shows the end of last week's Raw where he curb stomped Ambrose and Cena on the briefcase. He's holding up the briefcase, it's all dented, etc. Says he won't stand to be embarrassed. He talks about how he's the future, and then the goons come down and try to calm him down and get him out of the ring, etc. He completely ignores them, pretty much. Says, I love having a target on my back because everybody wants a piece of me. Now, as if to answer that, John Cena comes down the ramp, music and all. I don't think, when they're coming down to jump somebody or attack somebody, I don't think they need the music. But that's another story for another day. Cena comes down, gets one or two shots in before Rollins tries to escape through the crowd. Rollins is sitting in the crowd, smiling at Cena. Look at me, I got away again, and Ambrose is right behind him. Ambrose jumps him in the crowd. They brawl back towards the ring. All three of them brawl. Ironically, the goons break it up, which is... you know, two retired cruiserweights should not be pulling apart three current-day main eventers. I'm just saying. Triple H and Stephanie come out and say this show will not dissolve into anarchy. Rollins just let his ego override his brain, and that Cena and Ambrose will face Rollins, Kane, and Orton in the main event tonight. A little bit of a recycled main event, but, you know, it keeps everybody relevant, and, you know, other than Kane, who really doesn't need to be there wrestling in pants like Al Bundy. We get Ziggler and the Usos versus Cesaro and Goldust. I do feel the need to point out, because it just stuck out to me, that the Usos skipped the I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, I know, but the Simatau, the Polynesian Samoan war dance thing they do before the more modern upbeat part of their music starts. They kind of skipped that. I don't know whether that's going to be a thing or what, but we see an Uso, like picture in picture, we see a promo from the Usos where they sort of mock the interesting interview style of Gold and Stardust, and you know, they mock the whole like bros before hoes cliche, and they say bros before weirdos, which is, you know, it's a little lighthearted, it's a little sort of schoolyard humor, but it works for them because, you know, they're the feel good guys, etc. Goldust, very, very early, before the match even starts, really puts Jey Uso into the steps, messing up his shoulder. Jey still starts the match. We want Ziggler chants ringing all throughout Brooklyn tonight. I don't remember. I believe it's called the Barclays Center. I think I'm going to go with that because I think that's the name of the arena. We want Ziggler chants ringing loud and proud throughout the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Quick tags and a lot of triple teaming. Jey Uso gets the living snot kicked out of him, and Jimmy tags in. Jimmy tags in, and he gets the living snot kicked out of him. 3-on-1 by Gold and Stardust, as well as Cesaro. Hold on, guys. And we're back. Sorry, guys, I had a little bit of a battery issue, but I'm back, not to worry. Where were we? We were in the six-man tag match, where Goldust and Cesaro and Stardust were double-teaming Jey, and then double-teaming Jimmy, and then Cesaro makes Ziggler eat the same steps that Jey ate at the beginning of the match, takes him out, and then mocks Ziggler with the Ziggler-style elbows on one of the Usos in the ring. Gold and Stardust work over Jey's shoulder a lot. Ziggler gets a hot tag and splashes everybody, even with a... Now, I want to say he did this to Cesaro. I'm not entirely sure because I didn't actually write it down. What I did write down is that he got a ridiculous sort of tilt-a-whirl head scissor into a sleeper, into like the Dolph Ziggler sleeper that we all know, but he got into it in a really, I guess acrobatic is the best way to say it, but it almost looked like he was trying to pull off a head scissor, but it's a head scissor that turned into a sleeper, so that's cool too. Famous Sir gets a near fall on Cesaro, and we move on. Uppercut from Cesaro gets a near fall on Ziggler. Stardust hits a neckbreaker on Ziggler, gets another near fall. We get a triple super kick from Dolph Ziggler and the Usos on Stardust, and a splash by Jimmy gets Ziggler and the Usos the win. Nice match. I know these matches are getting repetitive. It's building towards the brothers versus brothers. It's building to what I assume next is going to be Cesaro versus Ziggler. It's all good. Don't worry. We find out what's going on with other things and other titles later on down the line. We see the Luke Harper promo from last week. It is repetitive. It is the same promo from last week, but it is the WWE who do ridiculously good video packages, and the Wyatt promo packages in particular are quite good. The idea that Harper has been set free, he's going to be set loose on the WWE now. I'm going to tell you at the end of this Raw a rumor that I read today that I don't know how I feel about it. I'll ask your guys' opinion on that later on. Bo Dallas versus Mark Henry starts off with the crowd in Brooklyn in the Barclays Center doing dual sexual chocolate chants and "We Bo Leave" chants. Mark Henry, as you would predict, mauls Bo Dallas. Again, Dallas keeps trying to avoid him, keeps slipping him out of the ring, laps around the ring, etc. When he gets a hold of him, he slams him into the post, slams him into the guardrail, and he's about to World's Strongest slam him on the announce table when Bo Dallas one more time wiggles out, slips himself into the ring as the referee counts 10. He gets another bodacious, inspiring victory over Mark Henry, even though it is indeed by countout. No problem with this whatsoever. If they take this to a pay-per-view one time, I won't mind. This is not a rivalry that's going to go on forever, for sure. But at a B pay-per-view like Hell in the Cell, if we see Bo Dallas versus Mark Henry one-on-one, I'm not saying put it in the cell. It doesn't need that. But if this hits pay-per-view once, no problem at all. SmackDown 15 ad. Really, really nice video package once again. I'd like to know the name, because it was different than last week. I'd like to know the name of the song that they used in the promo for this week's ads, because it's actually a nice little tune, and I don't have the first clue what it is or who it's by or anything. So, you know, you guys are my buddies. You guys can help me out. Put it down in the box below. That'd be great. I am still planning on doing a SmackDown 15 review. That is if I'm home. It's the long weekend up here in Canada. For those of you that don't know, it's Thanksgiving weekend for us. I know my friends in the States, Thanksgiving is a while later. I think it was around American Thanksgiving that I went down to the States and got this. And, you know, saw Survivor Series and such and such. But for me, the long weekend is coming up this weekend, so barring any interruptions, I should be able to pop out a SmackDown 15 review. I also have a topical video that I'm going to do that, again, I will let you know at the end of this video. We have Ambrose coming out to the ring, once again, calls out John Cena, says he's sick of John Cena being up in his space. Talks about how Cena ditched him in their tag match on SmackDown to chase Rollins, and gives Cena the warning that you're giving me a reason to not like you. Let's come out here and settle it. Cena comes out, and we get, because it's a Brooklyn crowd, we get that, the singing that we haven't heard in a while. It's like, when John Cena's music is like, John Cena sucks, like with the rhythm. I can't sing, obviously. You guys, any of you, come on out to karaoke with me one night. You'll really find out that I can't sing a lick. But they're singing that he sucks as he comes out to the ring. He mocks the fact that the fans are cheering Ambrose. He says, okay, I ditched you last week, you ditched me tonight, are we even, yada yada yada. Ambrose says, you know, in his own crazy way, that we have a lot in common, neither one of us likes each other, and neither one of us really cares what anybody else thinks. I don't have a problem dropping you on your head right now and dealing with the authority myself. Cena mocks him and says last time that he tried to deal with the authority by himself. He ended up with his head in cinder blocks. He says saying things and doing things are two different things, and I don't mind dropping you either. Ambrose then goes into a comical little bit of thing where he says he's hungry. He wants a hot dog. He wants to go ride some roller coasters. He's going to jump on the F train, which I'm sure is a subway in Brooklyn. I'm sure it is very relevant to the people in Brooklyn that know what he's talking about, which is cool. Which is very cool. It doesn't mean anything to me because I'm up here in Canada. It's relevant to the crowd that's there. I would say this to the British fans out there, fans in the UK specifically, that always complain that the WWE makes references that are mostly American. Well, they're going to make references that are relevant to their live audience, are they not? If they're over in the UK, or anywhere, if they're in Japan, China, Canada, they do it up here too, they're going to make references that are relevant to us. I believe the last time they were up in Canada, there were a lot of Rob Ford jokes, and you know what? I say good on them. But the whole F-train thing, I'm assuming that's a subway because we see him, and he says, I'm going to go to Coney Island and you're going to deal with the authority by yourself, have a good night, type thing, smacks him in the chest with the microphone and leaves. Coming back from the break, we see stock footage of Dean Ambrose getting on a subway. Good times. Triple H comes up to Cena in the back and mocks him, says the champ is here. Oh, wait, that's a little too soon, isn't it? Mocks Cena for not having a partner and says, because you want Seth Rollins so bad, Seth Rollins will indeed be forced to start the match in your main event 3-on-1 handicap match tonight. And then mocks the never give up thing. Brie versus Summer Rae. And Brie has one arm tied behind her back because Nikki still is in the back pocket of the Authority. Summer Rae owns her. Layla's mocking her on the outside. Nikki's watching with, you know, Nikki angry face from the ramp. Brie, I shit you not, gets one Daniel Bryan style knee in, and that's enough to get the victory. Because is she not the personification of Daniel Bryan while Daniel Bryan's away, and therefore is she not going to be overbooked beyond ridiculousness? Oh yes, and yes, at the end of that segment I did end it with an LOL, because that's really all you can say. Miz and Mizdow attempt to give Kane a fruit basket as their way to apologize to the Authority for being rude to them last week. Kane, in turn, in appreciation, makes a match between Miz and Sheamus tonight. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to concede a little something here. There's a lot of people out there shitting on the current product, and I've been waving the banner for WWE, saying WWE's product right now is not nearly as bad as it should be. It's not nearly as the stories aren't nearly as fucked as they should. The one thing I will say is the way the Authority is dealing with the Miz. The Authority is against the Miz and basically feeding him to babyfaces. Is that not a babyface authority figure thing to do? Would the heel authority figure thing not be for them to screw over Sheamus and maybe put him in a handicap match against Miz and Damian Sandow? Just a thought. Obviously the Authority are heels. Obviously the Authority are fucking with everybody, but it's just, I don't understand why they have this little side issue with another heel. It just, there's a little bit of continuity issue there, but it seems to be mostly between Miz and Kane, which is not a rivalry I want to see go anywhere. I don't want to see, like, Kane and Sheamus versus Miz and Mizdow. There's no money in that. Just saying. Jack Swagger versus Tyson Kidd, with obviously Zeb Coulter and Natty in their respective corners. Again, a big blow to the people out there that say that Raw and SmackDown do nothing to promote NXT. Tyson Kidd really shone in this match. Swagger almost destroys Kidd in the first second of this match with a brutal-looking shoulder tackle. But after hiding behind Natty for a second or two, Tyson gets a really good shot to the back, a really good kick, I should say, to the back of Swagger's head from the apron. And as soon as they get back in the ring, follows it up with some Austin-style stomps in the corner. Swagger throws Kidd across the ring. And I don't know whether it was a snapmare or an arm drag or just he just tossed him across the ring, but he did. He's the bigger guy. He's the stronger guy. Tyson's the weaker, I won't say the weaker guy, but the smaller guy. He's easy to believe thrown across the ring. Swagger throws Kidd across the ring, and then we have a very, very nice, if you're into this kind of wrestling, a very nice sharpshooter to ankle lock to sharpshooter to ankle lock counter sequence, which ultimately ends in Swagger getting the ankle lock and the win. But when they focus on Tyson Kidd after the match, guys, when we talk about guys like Cena, when we talk about guys like Sheamus, we talk about the fact they can't sell. Tyson not only holding his foot, but crumpled in the corner, holding his foot with his shoe off, holding his, like he's still got socks on, but he's cradling his injured foot, selling the ankle lock or the Patriot lock of Jack Swagger like it's death. I like that. Leave Tyson Kidd on Raw, take him out of the shitty NXT storyline, take him off Total Divas, and let him do shit like this. It's good. It's good, but no, even the NXT fans won't cheer Tyson Kidd tonight because tonight he was a Raw guy. There was somebody on Twitter that I noticed, and I won't even say his name because I know you guys are sick of hearing me talk about him, but as soon as this match was over, he's like, hey guys, if you want to watch the real Tyson Kidd, you can watch him on NXT. I was like, if you're a fan of Tyson Kidd, why would you not big up the fact that he got onto the flagship show? Am I wrong on that? No, I'm not. We see Michael Cole, the King, and JBL talking about how SmackDown 15 is going to be on Friday, and talking about how on the WWE Network there's going to be a special about the 15 years of SmackDown hosted by Edge and Christian. And then we throw to Edge and Christian on the Titantron, who are talking about the SmackDown 15 show that totally reeks of awesome. It's some ridiculously long name. But then they start making the the 9.99 jokes, and they're like, 9.99, 9.99, 9.99, 9.99, and it's funny. And I can say this being up here in Canada and having the network. It's funny to see two Canadians spouting off $9.99 because, guys, I hate to break it to you, up here we got to pay $11.99. I would have loved for them just once to be like $11.99, but you know, it's not that kind of place. We get the big, bold Roman Reigns via satellite promo. Or not promo, but interview about his status, where he basically tells us that he's making progress and he's moving around more than he was before. That was it. And he arrived via satellite, to which I really want to say, wow, you must be related to The Rock. But I digress, and we'll digress more as we go along. We get the announcement that tomorrow/tonight for me, I'm going to watch this after I'm done making this video. The main event, is going to be Bo Dallas versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, I don't know whether it's for the Intercontinental Championship or not. I hope it is. I hope Bo Dallas makes a good showing of himself, and Dolph Ziggler will help him along wherever he can. That match is going to be great. Segment of the night. Rusev and Lana come out. Yes, segment of the night, Rusev and Lana. Those things just happen together. Talk about how it's Putin's birthday. Talk about how there's no match with the Big Show tonight because he's suspended and he should be in prison because what he did to the Russian flag last week was a hate crime. Russia's superior, blah, blah, blah. Rusev grabs the mic, and I write down everything that Rusev says when he talks because it's still weird for me that he's talking for himself. There's a Big Show and then a bit of Russian blabble. America is no superpower. America is nothing. The Big Show is afraid of me. Come, Big Show, come down and see what happens. Big Show is a coward like all of you. And then doesn't the fucking Rock show up? After his nephew or whatever shows up via satellite. The real Rock shows up in person. We get some holy shit chants. He's in a Iron Mike Tyson, Brooklyn, New York jacket. Tells them to know their role and shut their mouth. Tells them, you know, you look like you work out as much as The Rock, except I don't pull my shorts up to my nipples so that everybody sees my Moscow moose knuckle, which is fantastic. We got a few, he tells the typical Rock story. The Rock woke up this morning in Florida and got up and went to New York, and he goes through this big long spiel like he always does, naming all the different areas of New York until he gets to Brooklyn, gets all the cheap pops and whatever. Lana tries to interrupt him, and he tells her to shut up because she looks like a Soviet streetwalker. Later on in the night, the term Soviet streetwalker would trend worldwide on Twitter, which is fantastic. Rusev actually gets a microphone and says, calls The Rock an American piece of garbage, and that he should leave or be crushed. He says, you're not going to crush The Rock, you got a breath like Chewbacca's hairy ball bag, and Lana may be beautiful, but she looks like somebody stuck a Smirnoff up her Putin. Now, as somebody that is a fan of The Rock, and drinks Smirnoff, I popped huge for that. Probably more than I should have. There's probably something wrong with me, guys. I should, be getting analyzed. There's a reason nobody beats you. You're bigger, you're stronger, you're more dangerous than a lot of other people in the WWE currently, but there's also a lot of reasons why people don't like you. Let me tell you, we are Americans, we love our country. We don't boo you because you're Russian, we boo you because you're a pair of international assholes. Lana tries to get up in The Rock's face one more time and talks about how Rusev is hungry. There's a stare down. There's a beatdown. Rusev leaves. Rock poses for a long time. Now, there are people complaining on the internet that, oh yeah, that was a great Rock segment, but they only did it to compete with football. Now, I don't care about football at the best of times, so it doesn't really matter to me why we got it. But regardless of why you got it, is a segment bad because the reasoning behind it was different? No. If you enjoy a segment, you enjoyed it. Fuck off. And yes, I'm calling out Deluxe Man on that one. Paige and Alicia Fox versus AJ Lee and Emma. We play up the fact that AJ is really sort of like that lone wolf good guy. I don't really have any friends. We see some things on Twitter about her talking about how she has friends, she doesn't like friends, and how Paige told her, oh, she could have had a friend, and all this sort of thing. So we got Paige and Alicia Fox, who are the new best buddies, and AJ gets a tag team partner in Emma, where she looks ridiculously unimpressed because Emma comes down, does the Evolution dance, and it's all fine and it's all good. AJ tosses Alicia Fox into Paige to start the match. Emma tags in. We have Emma and Fox for a while, it's a cool dynamic because while Alicia Fox and Emma are both getting a chance to show what they can do in the ring, we see the two girls that we really want to see go at it on the outside of the ring not doing very much at all. Which sounds boring and sounds anticlimactic, but does it not build the tension and build the anticipation and build the suspense for the next time they go at it, which I'm assuming is going to be at Hell in the Cell. Emma gets to show some of the things that she did, some of the things that the NXT faithful know, like the Emma Lock, the Evolution, the Dilemma, the Emma Sandwich. AJ eventually just rolls her eyes and walks out. It's like, fuck this. Emma proceeds to get double-teamed by Paige and Alicia Fox. A super kick and a rampage, which is still a wicked pretty move by Paige, and Paige and Alicia Fox get the win. No problem with this whatsoever. It's cool to see Paige and Emma on Raw after watching the great matches they had together in NXT. There's some fluidity there, and I like that. That's nice. We see another Wyatt promo, but it's not for Wyatt, and it's not for Luke Harper this time around. This time it's for Rowan. And it's weird because he talks about, you know, what kind of world would treat a young man like this, da-da-da-da, and it constantly showing pictures of him feeling like he needs to be masked and feeling like he needs to be outcast and all this stuff. And it's the same type of thing. I can't think. Bray Wyatt says the same thing he said about Luke Harper. He says, "I set you free." Eric Rowan, his comeback to that, and looking out into the world in general, I guess, is don't bother apologizing. Which is a really, really creepy thing to say. And then the video ends, and it's a flash of a second, but it's a pregnant woman's chest with just her hands holding her chest, and it says, "It's coming." Which is weird, because a baby shouldn't be called an it, and a person shouldn't be called an it, but for this, they're creepy and it works. Now, the rumor that I've heard is that the Wyatt family, as it is right now, is splitting up, so that Bray Wyatt can bring up his new charges, and his new charges, could they be anybody else but the Ascension? That will be interesting, because the Ascension is creepy too, but they're creepy in a totally different way. So on the one hand, I really want to see them stay on their own and be their own thing, but at the same time, the credibility they could absorb from Bray Wyatt would be fantastic. And you know, it always leads way later on down the line to revisit the Wyatt family versus Ascension feud from NXT, if you want to say that Harper and Rowan are competing for the attention of their old mentor, and his new, like I say, his new charges. There's a ready-made story there if they ever run out of things to do with the Wyatts, which I don't think they will do anytime soon. We also hear that it's Bruno Sammartino's birthday, so good for him. Miz versus Sheamus is nothing really. It starts off the match with Miz shouting out the words, "Watch out for the Moneymaker," and bitch-slapping Sheamus multiple times. This is where they tell us also that Soviet Streetwalker is trending worldwide on Twitter. This is a very, very typical Sheamus match for the most part. Miz getting a lot more offense than you would expect, and Sheamus having a bullshit comeback every single time. The whole match, there's Sandow and Mizdow chants, and Sandow's better chants. Now, me being a Miz fan, that's but it means the crowd is behind Sandow, which I'm 100% in favor of. One of the times that Sandow interferes in this match actually pays off, because Miz does manage to escape with a small package victory, and Miz gets a win. So, what we have now is we have Cesaro seemingly chasing the Intercontinental Championship. Could we see Miz with his sidekick in tow chasing the US title going into Hell in the Cell? Fantastic. Miz lost one mid-card title, let him pick up another, because the boy needs gold around his waist, and we need Sheamus just gone off our television. And if our mid-card champions are Cesaro and The Miz, I'd be a happy kid for sure. Cena versus Rollins, Kane, and Orton. Rollins starts the match, and within about 5 seconds tags in his partners, as you know you would expect. Cena battles Kane and Orton a lot. Rollins stomps on Cena in the corner once they've got him thoroughly beaten down. Rollins hits a he hits an over-the-top neck breaker on Cena, and it's not quite the throwback that Cena used to use when he was doing his Thugonomics gimmick, but it's the only thing I can really compare it to. I'm really running out. I'm at a loss for words to explain what it was, but it was a really nice move. It was kind of like a throwback sliced bread #2 from the second rope. I don't know what to call it. You guys go in the bottom, down below. Tell me what you want me to call it. Cena obviously comes back with the bullshit 5 moves of doom, but not for long, because a 3-on-1 beatdown leads to a DQ, and Ambrose shows up with a hot dog cart, which incites, of course, because we're in Brooklyn, a "we want hot dogs" chant. He uses a bottle of ketchup, a bottle of mustard, and the cart on Kane and Randy Orton, and then gets into the ring and starts mauling Rollins. Cena Supermans against Orton and Kane, while the match that we all want to see is happening in the ring. Ambrose hits a suicide dive on Rollins and grabs his balls with the tongs from the cart. fantastic. It's all broken up by security and the goons and everybody else, and Triple H announces for Hell in the Cell, Cena versus Ambrose, winner to face Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell in the main event. Ambrose plants Cena with a double arm DDT, and that's how we end the show. Everybody goes home happy. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Now, guys, I don't know whether it'll be sometime in the tail end of this week. I don't know whether it'll be next week. I will be doing a video, my thoughts on Cena's involvement in the Rollins-Ambrose feud. Constructive contributions to that video on one side or on the other are very, very welcome down in the box below. If you're just going to bullshit and talk about how WWE's fucked up again, I don't really want to hear it because I don't agree with you, and you're going to find out why when I do this video. I'm going to look at both sides, and then I'm going to give you guys my opinion. I'm going to try and be as fair on this as I can. You guys know I like Rollins and Ambrose. You guys know my opinion really hasn't changed that much about Cena, but my opinion on WWE in general is a lot higher than most people, and there are things in the WWE that I might not necessarily have done if I was the writer, but do make sense, and I want to take the time, and I don't want to make it a little part of a Raw video. I want to take the time and get my thoughts properly collected, and when I've had a bit more sleep, true, to be honest, and get my thoughts out to you guys on that one, because I know it's controversial, and I know a lot of people out there have a lot of different things to say about it. But that was Raw. Like I say, I'm sorry these videos are coming out a day late these days, but thank you guys for hanging in. I thank you guys for subscribing. We broke, I don't exactly know when, because I haven't checked it in a while, we broke the 500 mark in subs again. So, that's fantastic. Last time I checked, we were at 505. We hit 500 before, and then, you know, I was honest about my feelings on Daniel Bryan and lost a bunch of subs because people are petty. Now we've built back up. We're back up above 500. I told you guys, December next year, my goal is to double that number and get to at least 1,000 subs. Anything you guys can do to help me out, share me, repost me, retweet me. Anywhere you post me on Facebook, tag me in the post. If you retweet me on Twitter, include @SpazPhoenix in the tweet. And there's a specific reason I want to do this. You guys, I know there's lots of you out there that share my videos. And the shitty part about all that is I don't know that you've done it unless you tag me or unless you tell me. And I want you guys to tag me and tell me, and I want to be able to see when you guys have done it because you guys deserve my thanks. This channel would not be where it is right now without you guys, so that's fantastic. Thank you for getting me over the 500 mark again. Thank you for sitting through another Raw review where I ramble and have computer and camera issues and all that sort of thing. I'm looking forward to Hell in the Cell. We've already got 2 matches on the card. Well, we've got a match and a half. It's, you know, Cena versus Ambrose and Rollins versus one of them. Hell in the Cell for a B pay-per-view could be a sleeper pay-per-view. It could be really good. People are already in advance bitching about Survivor Series when we don't even know what's going to happen in a couple of weeks. I don't really understand it. But that being said, my voice going away, as it usually does, this is about the time where I say, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Tell me what you thought of Raw. Tell me, are you looking forward to Hell in the Cell? Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
You're a freak like me.